Ready, set, go. Dribble fast, heartbeats flow. Confederacy, talking show. Freddie and in the glow. Hoops and jams inside your ears. Slam dunks, no more fears. B-ball chat over the years. Podcast legends, cheers and cheers. Up, down, bounce, come alive. Catch the vibes, feel the drive. In the zone, we will ride. Freddie and running five. Hit and roll to the beat. Every day front row seat. Podcast heat, never will retreat. Feel the pulse, hit the street. 3-point lines, crossover spins. Basket that podcast for the win. In your heart, the vibes begins. Freddie and we the king.
What's up, everybody?
Oh, it's going again. You waited too long. You waited too long. Sorry. We have to do this. We have to now. This is what happens when the computers run things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. Listen. I think she says cheers and cheers.
What's up, everybody?
There it
And
is.
welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks basketball podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas, here with fellow host and producer Andy Hall. And I'm here with special guest, hilarious improviser, comedian, fan of all of the Ball brothers, wrestling fan, podcaster, Anthony Hall. What's up, both of you guys?
Hello, happy Thanksgiving, Canadian Thanksgiving to all. I'm doing well, man. That theme song is a banger.
Yeah.
So nice
Holy
they had to play
shit.
it twice, you know?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I knew we were going to talk about it a bit.
Woo! I'm sweating.
It's so fast that I try to write down different things I hear every time, and I'm happy Andy played it twice this time. So this time I got hoops and jams in your ears, something, have no fear.
Yeah.
So that's in there.
Who made it? Who's the
Cheers
genius
and
behind the
jeers.
Confederacy of Dunks and new banger theme?
Well, that's that would
It's
be
Arcade
me.
Fire.
That would be me and the Arcade Fire. We
Oh.
collabed on this, and I was like, "Can you make it sound like it's AI?" That's what I'm going for, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
And I to trick people, and then we did that, and here we are.
You need all the non-canceled parts of the Arcade Fire. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. It was really only like the drummer and they're like
Bill
one
Butler.
of their roadies. Yeah.
Not Win Butler's. With
No,
Bill.
no,
Give
no,
me Bill. Give me Bill Butler.
Honestly, I don't really know the Arcade Fire that well. They're not a band I really ever listen to. I literally couldn't name you one Arcade Fire song. But when the opportunity to collaborate with their drummer and one of their roadies came along, I was like, let's do it.
That's why you're a
Amazing.
businessman.
Yep. I'm a business man,
Oh,
you know?
Guys, this is if you're listening, thank you. This is Raptors Republic podcast. We're gonna be riffing. We're gonna be, we're gonna be relaxing. Let's start with we're gonna talk about the Raptors preseason a little bit. Then we're gonna talk about VC and the new starting five show and beef in general after the Dante DiVincenzo, Rick Brunson, good stuff. So yeah, let's start with preseason. Raptors got a classic Boston beatdown and made it a game. But when they did make it a game, it was pretty much garbage time, I would say, partway through the first quarter for the entire game. But yeah, so that is tough to analyze, but we got a lot of young players and some standouts. Anthony, let me go to you first. Is there anything, let's just say from the preseason in general, but also this game, that has struck you about the Raptors?
I suppose we could start with the Celtics game. It's a classic case of Peyton Prichard circling on his schedule that he's playing against the Toronto Raptors.
Or
Fast
threes in the
PP.
first.
Yeah, fast PP himself. He's just letting them rip, and he's not missing any shots. And this is just a classic occurrence every time the Celtics play the Raptors, and it's
Truly
painful to watch.
pops off against us.
Yes. And there were some other guys that definitely were not missing shots either. I didn't know that Lonnie Walker was on the Celtics, and he was not missing very many threes. And then who do they have? I think he's a second-year guy now, Jordan Walsh, which definitely made me feel moments of panic because I was like, oh no, are the Raptors not going to be able to defend the perimeter again? Yet another season where our defensive scheme just leaves guys completely open to not miss threes and just completely catch fire. So that was like maybe one of my primary panics and things I was concerned of when I was watching that game. And just in general, the Raptors have not looked great.
I love the analysis you're bringing it. I will say to for me anyways, because again, I am an absolute sicko. I watched that game twice.
Twice?
Yeah, God help me.
Oh my God.
See what I could pick up, and the second time around, not as fun as the first. The first time around, also not very
The
fun.
hell you say?
Yeah. If for me, so part of what I'm struggling with the preseason and I think like this team in general, but also this particular circumstance is, like I really want to see Quickly play. I really want to see Quickly and Scottie play together, and I think see what is of what they can do together. I feel like I have a pretty good idea of RJ and what he's capable of. But Scottie in particular, seeing him, like, he needs talent to play with and chemistry. So this preseason's been honestly more experimental than preseasons past. So I think hoping and assuming that we get to see Quickly play. He doesn't miss any regular season time. But I think that I really want to see, even if he can't, I think when wins are on the line, I'll be able to analyze a bit more. We talked a little bit about Boucher last week, and I mean, he's just such a hustle maniac. I hope Boucher, like, in this current iteration of the Raptors, even if you're playing him to trade him, I hope he gets minutes, because it's everyone is sort of figuring everything out, and this team is going to have a lot of work to do just to be competitive every night. So I think that I want to see Boucher out there, just for the hustle sake alone, right?
Sure, but what is his role, right? Like, what we're seeing these flashes of Chris Boucher, as we always do, where he's cleaning up in the paint, he's hustling, as you say, he's really locking down a lot of like premier, I'd say, offensive talent when the preseason is on, and then he kind of fades away during the regular season because he doesn't get the opportunities. But like in this current iteration of the Raptors, where is he fitting? Like, is he going to be one of the primary off the bench bigs because we have not very much depth, or are we going to actually showcase him, as you said, to trade him finally? I feel bad. He's just been kind of sitting around.
Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine, like Mobo's going to get some minutes. Olynyk's going to be one of the key bench guys. So I think Boucher kind of comes in as like the 8th, 9th, maybe 10th man, which, it's like 10 minutes a game. But like, I think that is to me, is there's some value there. But anyhow, I think I like what I've seen from Davion and Shead. It's like a nice, like, and again, that to me, it comes back to the Emmanuel Quickly thing. Like, if Quickly is playing and he's our starting point guard, then it's like, okay, right, one of these guys is like slotted in as the backup role. Maybe, it's Davion to start, and Shead, kind of gets a look here and there, but like it's sort of like we're waiting to kind of unleash him on the G League to get some reps.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I
love, like, let me just take this moment to say how much I love Jamaal Shead, and he was so underrated, I feel, because I was watching the last March Madness run that he had with Houston, and he's he's a dog, man. He's so great.
Yeah, he's
defensively.
fast.
He's
too.
a great
Very
on-ball
fast.
defender, great hustler. He's not a fantastic shooter. He's a little bit small. I mean, comparatively,
Yeah,
I
he's
think
like
to
six,
other
he's like
NBA
6'1",
guards.
6 foot. Yeah.
But he was the Big 12 like player of the year and defensive player of the year. And I don't understand like how he dropped so far. Maybe it is because he's undersized and that he's a little bit older, but like, yeah, he's great. He reminds me of Fred VanVleet in like the best way possible. He's a better defender, I think, but yeah,
Wow.
I'm so excited to see him continue to grow.
Fred's a fantastic defender, so that's big.
I think Shead's a better defender. Yeah.
I love it. That's some serious confidence. I mean, I will also say really want to see Jacoby Walter play. So he's another guy where it's like, he's our main draft guy. So, anyways, this preseason's we're warming up.
Right.
Andy, you got any preseason comments?
Working on a night shed.
Huge
Yeah.
callback to last week.
Bring it back
Ooh.
because this is a night shed type thing here, and
Yeah.
there's some repairs that need to be made at nighttime in the middle of the night. We're talking midnight. We're talking 1 a.m. It's dark. We're gonna head up. We're gonna head out, and we're gonna hit up the night shed. Okay. So just keep that in mind. I want people to play that in their heads every time Jamaal Shead scores. Every time he gets a basket, I want to hear people going, "Working on a night shed."
I think they will. Yeah, I think
they will. I think. Look, we're not that far removed from probably the guy who plays songs at Scotiabank.
For sure.
At least 2 degrees of separation.
We can at least suggest it.
I promise
we can
you,
get the suggestion to that person.
I promise you, with our collective use of the TTC, he rides one of the routes we ride.
Oh yeah, we've ridden.
You know what I mean? He might be on the Blur line with me and the Jane bus, perhaps.
I walk in Scotiabank past all of the good stuff to get to work.
I've been
every
in
time
there.
I'm in, so
I've been in there.
Yeah.
Scotia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I've been in the same building with that person when they're working.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Do tell.
I'm probably pretty close to them, sitting in the nosebleeds.
They're up there.
So we've established we're big fucking dudes in this town.
We're big fucking dudes in this town. No
the biggest dude in this town this year, maybe ever as a Raptor. I don't know. Like fame wise, perhaps. Vince Carter got into the Hall of Fame. Said some very lovely things. Is kind of like towing this beautiful line of like, if you love me, thank you. If you hated me, I still love you. If you like, it's very democratic. But every time the Hall of Fame comes around, I find myself wondering, like, I have too many questions about the Hall of Fame. And it to me, it seems like this is something I should really love and care about. And it's not that I'm like, I understand it matters. And I like going to Hall of Fames. Been to the Football Hall of Fame twice. Been to the Hockey Hall of Fame many times.
Ooh.
That's easy because I live in the city where the Hockey Hall of Fame is. But I just like, I don't know what it is. Like, I Googled like, what is the criteria for the Basketball Hall of Fame? And it's like, you have to be retired for 5 years. And I'm like, that is not sexy. That's not exciting at all. And I dug a bit more, and it's like generally 7 all-star appearances like puts you in that territory, I guess. Like, no one who's been in 7 all-star games hasn't made the Hall of Fame, right?
Really? Okay.
But even still, I find myself kind of wanting like more info. Like, I want to care about this thing. So, Anthony, let me go to you first. Like, where are you at with Hall of Fame? Like what's the avenue to make this more, I don't know, appealing to fans? And also, if you're like, hey, I love I'm a Hall of Fame stan, then my bad. Like, teach me.
Okay, well, before we went live, we were talking about where the actual Basketball Hall of Fame building is, and we did not know if it was in Springfield, Massachusetts, or Springfield, Indiana. So I think that already It's in Springfield, Massachusetts, I believe.
Oh man, I messed up.
So that in itself is a major red flag
That's
in
bad.
terms of the notoriety and how much people care about the Basketball Hall of Fame. I'm sure if I visit that beautiful building in Springfield, Massachusetts, it will be great. But I mean, it doesn't make sense to me how it all happens. Like, from the research that I did, it sounds like there's many different committees. There's an international committee and a blah 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 and a blah 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 blah, and they're all anonymous voters. It's not like the Baseball Hall of Fame where it's just like all sports media votes. I wish we had a bit more clarity on like who these voters are. Sure, I don't need to know their names or their social security numbers or anything or where they live, but I would love to know what their role is. Yeah, Andy needs
to
know
some deep shit about them.
But it would be cool
Just
to
for
know
my own
what
fun.
their accreditation or what makes them a valuable voter who is not just like a random person being like, oh yeah, this guy's a pretty decent college coach. Let's throw him in there. And I understand that's challenging because basketball is such a big game that has professional leagues all over the world, men and women, and then all sorts of different levels should be celebrated as well, whether that be collegiate or pro, or even high school for that matter. So I understand that there are a lot of contributing factors to who should be nominated, but they should really pare it down a bit, at least for the NBA or for just like the highest level of basketball. Maybe there should be a smaller committee and it should be a bit more clear who was allowed to vote. And then they can make a separate wing of the basketball museum and dedicate it to just that highest level of Hall of Fame. But all in all, even me talking about it is confusing.
Yeah, you just confuse the shit out of me. I have a thought, Andy. Where are you at with the NBA Hall of Fame? Like, what's gonna make you perhaps know where it is?
Oh, putting it in a city anyone cares about, and not the most generic city name in the literally in the whole country.
So you want to move
that
this thing? You want to?
I want to move it. I want to move it.
Okay,
100%. Put it in Los Angeles. That's where it should go. Put it in New York.
That'd be nice.
Put it in a big city. I don't care.
I will say New York.
Which one it is?
It's like fairly close to New York City.
It is. It's pretty far. It's
several hours.
Yeah, it's like in Hartford. It's the closest big city. I'm not even kidding. Is Hartford. Then Boston is like pretty far from that. Like it's not close to anything good, is what I'm saying.
But you know, like,
there's a Starbucks across the street.
Oh, huge. From a basketball standpoint, like, you know, California has the most players. New York City's the home of basketball, so like that's something that would be cool.
I agree. Listen, put these Hall of Fames in good cities, okay? The Hockey Hall of Fame is in Toronto, where it belongs. You know, it's in the middle of hockey mecca, right?
Football's in Cleveland, where it belongs.
Football's in Cleveland. That's
I'm
fine.
sure some people would
Cleveland
say,
is at least
Texas
an accessible
whatever,
city,
but
honestly, it's also a dump hole. So who cares about Cleveland?
Wow.
But I would even move that
Cleveland.
personally.
I have family in Ohio.
Cleveland can suck it big time.
Hey, listen,
I don't care.
you have all Baltimore on your ass.
Cleveland.
You have Baltimore on your
Baltimore
ass.
hates
And
me.
you got
Now
Cleveland on your ass now, dog.
But here, I'm about to redeem myself. Cleveland rules for getting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which feels like, okay, it can be in Cleveland, I guess. But why is Cleveland? You know, Cleveland's smart. I got to hand it to them. They're like, let's have those Hall of Fames here. So that way people will have any reason to come to our city. And it's true. People go to the cities and they visit that shit. But the Baseball Hall of Fame, like, is obviously in Cooperstown, but like they make a big deal of where it is in baseball, right? Like Cooperstown is like, everyone knows that's where the Baseball Hall of Fame is, and it's a big deal, and they always talk about it, and
Where's Cooperstown?
Good question.
So
is it in New York?
It's in New York, I think, right?
Boston.
Cooperstown, New York. But you don't hear as much about this one. So I think first thing, move it. Second thing, well, you know, I actually don't really have a big. So the other thing I always hear about the Basketball Hall of Fame is that it's too easy to get in, right? That's the laugh about the Basketball Hall of Fame, is that like anyone can get in. If you're when you just said there hasn't been a person who's had 7 All-Stars and hasn't made it in. First of all, I wonder how true that is for other sports. But if that's just the thing, like that's kind of, I mean, 7 All-Stars is good, but there is a whole joke about how it's easy to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame. You don't really need to have won anything. You just kind of need to hang around for a while and, you know, be pretty good for a few years. It sounds like I wish I could look over the like recent people and be like, that's kind of interesting, but I don't know. I actually don't hate that. Some people don't like it. Some people want it to be more like baseball, maybe even hockey, where it's just like, first of all, you gotta have a championship. Like if you're a player who gets in without a championship, you have to be like a generational,
like Steve Nash,
important player, right? What's that? Yeah, exactly.
That level.
And that's not like that with basketball. And honestly, I don't mind it because this way, the way it is now, it's like Vince Carter gets in, and I think Vince definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And not just with this low bar that they have, but if you raise the bar, I think Vince should still get in too, just for his impact on the sport, right?
Well, I think fame is also part of it.
Is a similar player,
AI,
right? Never had a championship, but his impact on the game is immeasurable, right? So like those two guys at that time, they were, you know, probably the two, like you're saying, fame, the two most popular players, the ones the kids loved and everyone wanted to play like them and dress like them and stuff. Like that is important. And the fact that those guys went on to you know, be on great teams that made the finals in Allen Iverson's case, or like truly like cement basketball's spot in such a huge city, in an entire country. I mean, we've talked about it a lot on this show, and Toronto media has talked about it a lot for the last few months, but that's a reason. That's definitely reason enough to get Vince in there, no question.
Very, very well said. I think that is, you know, because like part of this question I laid out at the beginning, you know, I'm like just a little bit of sausage, how the sausage is made. I always ask my guests, you know, I'm flying off the wall with the ADHD, right? And I'm like I always ask everybody, do my questions make sense? And for the most part, people are like, yeah. But then every once in a while, you come up on a question, it's like, I have no idea what you're trying to talk about. So Andy is comfortable with me. He's like, let me ask you this. What are you driving at with this Hall of Fame question? And it's good because this is exactly the type of thing I am driving at. Like what, why, who cares? Just a little correction to myself, by the way. Since we're doing this, the Football Hall of Fame, I should know this because I have family in North Canton, Ohio. So the Football Hall of Fame is in Canton, Ohio. It is not in Cleveland. So it's Cleveland's like pretty close, right? We're talking like I think 45 minutes an hour, but you know the closest city is Akron,
home of LeBron James.
Yeah, well, yeah. Football is LeBron James.
Do you think that the Hall of Fame in? Do you think of the Hall of Fame in these weirdo towns where someone just being like, well, first of all, Springfield, Massachusetts, that's where Naismith came up with it, right? Like, is that where Naismith came up with basketball?
I'm pretty sure, yes. Yeah. So that
and Cooperstown is similar vibe, right?
Mm-hmm. And I know Ohio claims football as well.
Ohio claims football too. They do.
Well, I think it's one of those like barbecue scenarios where like a lot of people claim it. Like I definitely think Texas has a lot of claims. I'm speaking, you know, a little bit out of my depth here, but I think it's one of those things where there's a lot of different claims to it. Well, I mean, baseball too, I think has a lot of claims.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Well, especially those two sports because they weren't just invented, right? Like they were morphed from other sports that people were already playing. So it's hard to pin down when these particular rules, I'm sure, were brought into play. Whereas like James Naismith literally was like, I'm going to make up a new game.
He's like, I'm weird. Check out these peach baskets.
One of the best heritage moments for all the Canadian television watchers.
Yeah. Hey, you should cut a hole in the basket, asshole.
Famously, one of the
And
lines
Naismith
in
was like,
the
"Yes."
historic heritage moment.
Yeah, he famously calls the people working.
He calls the guy an asshole.
asshole.
Then Naismith's like, yes, I'll cut a small hole big enough to stick a fucking broom through to
Broomstick,
pop the
yeah.
ball. Just cut the whole thing out, Naismith, so it falls down through it. Fucking guy.
We
You came
need
up with the
to-
whole sport. You couldn't think of cutting the bottom out of the peach basket.
Okay, I'm sorry, but we need. Okay, by the way, for our American listeners, we Canada, we have
Yes, for all
heritage
of our
moments.
American listeners.
Hey, it's 50-50 basically. So,
Okay, all right. Okay.
So we in Canada we have like heritage moments where there's like these commercials about like Canadiana and like important things that happen, blah blah blah. And one of them is James Naismith, who's from Almont area outside of Ottawa. And it's him inventing it, and it's just a cornball commercial. And anyways, all that to say, Google it, have fun, look it up. And I think that we do need to just declare right in this moment that we need to make a parody of this where Andy's heckling Naismith. I'll be Naismith. Andy's heckling the living shit out of me. And it's like an alternate history where the sport doesn't get invented because
a guy was
Andy
too much of an asshole about
Andy
it.
heckles me bad.
This game sucks, Naismith.
I'll be
The guy shot it from half the court. It's only worth 2 points. Fuck you.
I'll be one of the guys wearing a tight white tank top and hiked up shorts, running around with my hair slicked back, trying to get this ball into the peach basket.
And then we'll go into we'll take this pretty far where Naismith ends up getting super depressed and
we'll
losing
really
his
follow it. It'll be a whole series.
And then Murdoch will show up and he will give him the right tips to create the beautiful game that is basketball.
I'm pretty sure there was an episode of Murdoch where a guy plays Naismith in it. I'm almost positive of that.
Yes,
And-
it is the same episode that Nick Nurse is in as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yes.
there is.
Yeah, he's
That's
excuse
nuts.
me, Professor Coach. Can you teach me about Naismith? It's
Is
real
that
bad.
Nick Nurse or is that what Murdoch says?
I don't know.
That's a good Murdoch impression.
is
Excuse
that
me,
good?
Professor Coach.
And for our American listeners, Murdoch is a
Murdoch Mysteries.
horrible show. Murdoch Mysteries is a horrible show. That
Not
we all
true.
try-
One of the only high-paying television roles a Canadian actor can secure in their career.
Hey man, you know what? I almost got a walk on where I fall down a manhole, and then Murdoch and someone else go, that guy's not lucky.
Pretty good.
But the person died.
That
And
was
they
the brief. That was actually the one season of Murdoch Mystery where the whole thing was like a Looney Tunes cartoon. It was like they animated it all. It was really weird.
No.
It was like Murdoch works for this company called Acme.
Listen, I got two
Weird.
callbacks.
Yeah.
I got two
Yeah.
callbacks. I got put on hold. I'm like, listen, people want to see me die in a manhole.
Wow.
But I guess they didn't.
No,
So
Andy, have you been on Murdoch?
no, I have not. No, I did audition during the pandemic, and I had a callback, and Yannick Bisson was on the call.
Whoa.
And
Big Yan.
I was doing stuff, and everyone was pretty into it except for him. And I was like,
oh,
he doesn't like me at all. He doesn't like what I'm doing
that's
here.
bad for you. Star of the show can't hate you.
Yannick, yeah.
well, he's not very good at his own escape room, so I'll leave it there. I'll leave
shit.
it there.
Shots fired.
That's a Casaloma escape room burn.
Whoa, whoa.
So okay, let's talk a little NBA. So I mean, I've been wanting the NBA to do this for a long time. I've been wanting the WNBA to do this for a long time. There is a new doc series with like major producers, the Obamas, Peyton Manning, LeBron's company. Like this is like very, very serious business. So Starting Five, it's part of the like Unrivaled network or Uninterrupted network. And they follow 5 players throughout the whole season of 2024. LeBron, Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Jimmy Butler, and Domantas Sabonis. So like very star-studded. 10 45-minute episodes. This is good shit. This is if you're a casual basketball fan, it's very good because you get to see like the sort of like ins and outs. Like my wife loves open gym because she loves that experience of the Raptors. Like she almost loves open gym more than the games because she just sort of really loves the kind of like the personal stories and stuff. But anyhow, so this is great. I'm into it. My brain immediately goes to this is going to be successful, and I want to talk with you guys about who you think is going to be on the next season / should be on the next season. I don't know who wants to start. So well, instead of going one for one, Anthony, like give me your 5. Like who's just for whatever reason, who do you think is going to be season 2 starting 5?
So I do have like a spin-off idea to this, in the same way that Netflix did quarterbacks and then they did receivers. But I'll just get the discussion quickly started with 2 players who I would love to see as a part of a future starting 5 season. One would be, of course, Nikola Jokic, the only guy who makes basketball feel like a job. It is his job to punch in and punch out, win championships, get his salary, and then go back to Serbia and tend to his horses. I want that big time LeBron-esque budget to take us to one of his ranches and for us to meet all of his horses and see what life is like outside the NBA season for Nikola Jokic. And I'm sure you'll know what I'm about to say here, but I do believe that LeVar Ball deserves a bigger platform to showcase his excellent job as a father, and of course to see what LaMelo's up to, getting those full back tattoos, to see what his recovery regime has been this past offseason. He had a pretty good showing in the first Charlotte preseason game, so I want to see what the Balls are up to, and maybe I heard Lonzo might come back, but he's got pretty sore knees. But I would like to learn more about that. So those are the 2 guys I'd love to see in a future season of the starting 5.
I love how your tagline is, you got to see him, but he's got pretty sore knees.
He might be back, but he's sore. They're ruling him out.
Let's just say he's in the ice bath every episode. Okay, wait. So your guys are your guys are LeVar Ball, not a player.
Sure.
And
Lonzo
Ball, LaMelo Ball.
Yes.
LiAngelo Ball, obviously not. But wait, who's your other 2?
Oh, Jokic.
You're okay. You're designing. Wait, who's your 5th guy? Do you have one?
I didn't have a 5th guy, but we might as well just throw in Boban and see what he's up to.
Okay, so not in the league anymore. You're 5 guys. So I understand. I understand what's happening. You are trying to end this series with just one foul swoop. You're trying to be like, listen, this first season was a hit. This is True Detective season 2. Bombo. That's what you're up to.
People would argue that True Detective season 2 is actually not as bad as they first thought. But
I would never say that. No one would say
Rachel
that.
McAdams
No one who saw that would say it.
Come on.
Everyone who watched that series would say very bad.
Yeah, it's certainly confusing and I would say
boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. The worst is when a show that's confusing isn't worth your time to figure out. When you're like, what the hell's going on? And you're just like, who cares?
Are they in a suburb of LA?
Taylor Kish was remarkably broody in season 2 of True Detective. I do have a subsequent pitch once I end the proper starting 5, but I would love to hear some of the players that you guys would like to see before I get into it.
Okay, I have okay. Listen, this is a joke show and everyone makes jokes, right? But I actually came up with real ones. I actually surprisingly I came up with a real one.
He's getting serious.
Yeah, I did kind of get serious a bit. Okay. These are guys I actually would like to follow around for a full season and like get inside their heads and see what's happening with them. And so coming from this isn't just guys I like. This is also guys that I think have an appeal and people want to see. So obviously Jokic is up there, but I feel like we all got a lot of Jokic when that like summer after they won the championship. There's tons of footage about him, blah blah blah. So I do agree that that's a great pick. Actually, but just because if you already picked him, I'll pick someone else. So first things first, Luka Doncic. What's up with Luka? I want to get inside this guy's head for real. I think obviously one of the best players in the league, but like, do we really know what he's like? Like seeing him in the finals and in the playoffs, complaining so much of the refs. There was this thing of like, I thought I liked this guy. Now he's like kind of this whiny loser, and like he's had tinges of that in the regular season, but I feel like it was obviously like you're in the microcosm of the playoffs, like. That's amplified, man. Like the whole country is watching you now, right? Not just the greater Dallas area. So, it's Luka. I think would be. I'd say I guarantee they probably will do Luka next time because of those reasons. Jalen Brunson. Okay, Brunson's got such a great story. Being like growing up in New York and having his dad work there. I think that just would be just an interesting dynamic to show on Netflix and the whole that way it gets New York interested also, which we all want to impress the biggest market. Next, and this is not just because I'm a homer for the Raptors, but Scottie Barnes. Scottie is this kind of enigma-esque player, I feel like, to the rest of the league, where he won Rookie of the Year, so you got that high profile stuff. He was at the All-Star game. But I feel like the rest of the league barely knows anything about him. So I'd love to show Scottie and like show his personality and all this, and he's going to be like the young player on that season. Plus, it gets Toronto involved, which I think is just a thing that the NBA should do more of in general. So that would be great, and Scottie would be a great pick for that. Next, you gotta have like a veteran. You gotta have a veteran. You're LeBron. They got LeBron in this season. I thought about making it Steph, but I feel like I know enough about Steph Curry that I don't need this. Kevin Durant instead, right? This guy is a guy. I mean, what more needs to be said about it, right? But like, let's follow Kevin Durant around for a whole season and really get in his business and learn about what his life is like. I would love that. So KD is the next one. And finally, the like kind of off the wall weirdo choice, like Domantas Sabonis, I guess, is going to be, I choose him a lot for the list that we make here. And it's not just because I'm Canadian, but it's Dylan the villain. Dylan Brooks. Every reality show needs a villain, baby. Right? Mm-hmm. Pick Dylan Brooks. He's a fascinating player. I'd love for people who hate him to get to know him and maybe hate him more, and then vice versa. Maybe some people who hate him, they turn out to love him, and again, maybe if you love him and then you start to hate him. But the point is he's a personality that's going to make that show so interesting, right? And if you look at the teams too, you got some pretty good teams represented here. I mean, outside of maybe like the Raptors, obviously, but you've got Phoenix, you've got New York, you've got Dallas, you got Houston, or not, yeah. So whatever, Houston. They're whatever. You don't have that like super high profile team, but you get the Mavs and the Knicks. I feel like that's good enough. Anyways, that's my real pitch. That's my real actual pitch. No jokes in the bunch.
Love it.
Legit.
Okay.
Savor it. It'll never happen again.
I have a lot of similar thoughts to you, Andy, and I feel like this is I feel like I'm proud of myself for this question because there's a lot of successful versions of this. So yeah, to me, I tried to go a position mixture, personality mixture, and like time in the league mixture. So I got Jamaal Murray. By the way, the only thing that all my guys have in common, everyone's got a big personality. So Jamaal Murray. I think I'm becoming a bit of a Trey Stan. I don't know. There's something I don't know. I think it's like people have been down on him for a while now, and there's something about him where I'm like, I don't know. You are good. Atlanta's been bad. I understand that like things are just Like, I understand why people don't like you, but also I feel like he's someone I'd like to see more of, right?
It's a great pick. It's a good pick.
And then a similar kind of like veteran new spot. Give me some Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson in Dallas. That's going to be
on
fun.
a new team too. That's a good
on
story.
a new team. You know, sort of like twilight of his career. Then like all the way, I think, you know, like in a mentor role, huge personality. Give me like whatever the hell this season is going to be in San Antonio with Chris Paul.
Yeah,
you know, because he's basically he's like becoming a coach. Like he's like playing and then being with Pop. Like that's going to be cool. And then just like explosive personality that I feel like whatever else happens, you got this guy, Joel Embiid. Because I think this year too, with Paul George and Maxey, like, you know, I think they're a legit contender. And, you know, the other iterations of Philly have been good, but, you know, just it's just I just have a gut feeling about Philly this year that I feel like this is, I don't know. I think that things could work out for them time wise, and this could be very, very real for Philadelphia. Yeah. So those are my picks. But what's your other sort of like side idea, Anthony?
Okay, so my idea for a second season of NBA Starting Five would actually be NBA Journeyman. So I would love to follow not
Garrett
necessarily
Temple.
5 different journeymen, but 3 different ones. Like one that it's just like trying to break into the league, like a guy who's on a bunch of like Exhibit 10 contracts or kind of hopping around during the preseason. One that's like presently in the league that we can follow that maybe gets traded like mid-season so we can see what that's like the immediate impact on somebody who's maybe bounced around a couple teams already, but it's like trade deadline season and it's like Taurean Prince and he gets traded one more time, but he's like got kids that are just started class, or he just like put a down payment on a house or whatever, and now he has to like flip everything again. And then finally we get sort of somebody to ground the whole experience, which is like an NBA journeyman who is now retired, who is just telling us like kind of old stories and kind of regaling the greatest moments in his career. Maybe like a Robert Horry type who
it would be cool. So sorry to interrupt. If you got a guy like that who was a player coach,
sure.
Like
okay,
if you got a guy who, sorry, go ahead, Andy.
No, it's okay. Continue.
No, just if you got a guy like in the league who's a player coach, who's like traveling still and he's like still involved in the league, like, you know,
I think you need a person who's still involved in the league. I think that's a great idea. And like the season to do this would have been last season, and this person would have been Al Horford. Follow him on his like he's got to get the ring. This, you know what I mean? Like that would be a great third person to have. You get the full gamut of like guy trying to make the league, guy who's in the league but is bouncing around a lot still. He's still in that middle of bouncing around, and then a guy who has played on a bunch of teams near the end of his career going for the ring. Like that's huge.
I think that's the most compelling television, and
I would watch the hell out of that show for any of the sports.
Yeah.
Like that'd be great.
It's just like the cycle of a career. I mean, I think we are so used to seeing like the day-to-day of like our favorite players, but what was their process getting there, and how much did they struggle to get to those moments, and when everything did pay off, like how did that feel, and was it all worth it? And we finally get to map that out and see that in real time. Like I think that's something that is really powerful, that really humanizes these like larger than life personalities and people that we follow in sports.
Hell yes. Okay, final question. Dante DiVincenzo. You don't get a lot of this shit in preseason, but you know he's out here talking shit to Tibbs, Rick Brunson. There's also some video of like Julius Randle maybe like having some beef with Brunson. Maybe not. You know, I think people like to read into these things a lot. Like either way, you know, DiVincenzo was certainly talking shit at Tibbs and saying like, you know, this is what you get, sort of thing. And I love it. I love it. And it just made me excited for like what beef might occur. So, Anthony, let me go to you first. Who who do you want to see? Who do you want to see sort of like get into it? Like who's like, what's that incoming beef that excites you?
Okay.
For
Well,
whatever
I simply pretty much only have joke answers for this, so I'm
Fantastic.
gonna let them rip.
The Ball brothers,
Now
Brawl
is the time
brothers.
for
They're all
jokes.
fighting.
Now is the time for joke answers.
The holidays versus the balls.
Huge,
No.
huge holiday ball, massive.
Holiday ball. I think it would be really fun to have some sort of very superficial competition between the two guys that have NBA endorsed wines. That would be a James Harden and Klay Thompson. Them duking it out and
Awesome.
putting cases of wine as chips, if you will, to compete against each other. If there was some sort of beef, I'm like
Those
technically-
two beefing would be like they're both so in a like later stage of their career. It would be very
Yeah.
like, are you guys all right? Like,
Yeah, it would be fun. I think their wines are made by the same winemaker, so I don't know if it really does anything for the business overall, but it'd be fun to see. And then, of course, I think that it would be very fun to have the two big up and coming giant superstars kind of beef with each other. With that would be Wembanyama and Holmgren.
yeah, that's a legit one that's brewing. Like, that,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Like, yeah.
I would love to see, the battle of, these two giants. Let's build it up like as if it was like a Big Show versus Andre the Giant scenario where, there's these two incredible, massive talents, and then they just finally clash, and we get to see who comes out on top. But my third sort of like joke-y answer is the NBA has a lot of dudes who are really into fashion, and I think this is very important to player expression and getting to know these players' personalities off the court. And I would love for this next All-Star season or weekend to feature an NBA walk-off, just like in Zoolander,
Okay.
but with all of our favorite players with their craziest fits, and it would be hosted by somebody crazy like
Billy Zane.
Sure, Billy
It's a
Zane.
walk
you
off.
gotta bring back
It's a
Billy.
walk off.
It's a walk off. Yeah,
It's a walk off.
we
It's
can't
a
have
night shed.
it's the night shed walk off. It would be like somebody crazy like Dr. Dre would be emceeing it, and like Jerry Lorenzo, who is the creator of Fear of God, a big streetwear brand that NBA players love. Like if he was involved in some sort of judging process as well, I think that would be really cool to see some of our favorite NBA players really stunting out with their best outfits. Like Shea, he's the big fashion guy. We'd see him. We'd see Kuzma, PJ Tucker with some big hats and nice shoes. That's it. That's all I got.
Big hats, nice shoes. Let's go. Anthony, Andy, what's your like beef that you're interested in, longing for?
I mean, I'm not longing for beef. I'm not a guy who longs for beef
You don't?
outside of barbecue season. You know what I mean?
Huge barbecue shout out.
So I don't know. Just pick two random people: Tom Thibodeau and Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Whoa, you're going outside of you. That's good.
Imagine
Whoa. Tibbs, Icer.
T Swift just writing like breakup songs about the Knicks and Thibodeau overworking his starters.
What's fun about this is that she cares about Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, she is the one
A
who
world
starts
in which
it.
Taylor Swift is like, sorry, I gotta say
Taylor
something.
Swift really cares about Cat, and now Karl Anthony Towns is back in the same room as Tom Thibodeau, who will surely run him to the ground.
Sure.
And as a Cat lover, Taylor Swift will surely stand up to the abusive regime of Tom Thibodeau.
So
There you go. That's what he
huge.
said.
I have a wonderful answer for this. That's like,
Okay, let's go.
It's an outside shot, and then I have not gonna happen, but I want it because it would be insane. Here's my wonderful answer. Dylan Brooks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not far-fetched at all. Give me some Dylan Brooks, Bronny James, because he's showing up to LA and he's like, listen, I have so little respect for LeBron. I'm actually gonna go after Bronny. So it's like, it's a whole thing. It's like, because people are gonna do stuff to Bronny. Like it might be polite for a little bit, but it's only a matter of time till it's like garbage minutes or whatever. Bronny plays, something happens, he gets crossed, he gets dunked on, whatever it is, and then someone's going back down the court and they point at LeBron. That's happening. Like that's happening so soon. First 2 weeks of the league, like 100%. Somebody is like, I'm just a competitor. I'm going to humiliate your son, and that's like, and I think Brooks is like when like he's the type of guy to plan to do that. Like he might push Bronny. You know what I mean? Like it might not even be a basketball play. So that's the one I think is like possible. And I'm like, I guess I don't want
it. Might not even be during a basketball game. It might be like
perhaps
outside. He's going to like do spitballs at him.
Yeah.
Like,
it might be spitballs outside, high winds. How'd you do it? Sort of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But here's the one I want, because I think that there is something there, but like, it's just not actually going to happen. I want Paul George and Kawhi, because, this whole Clippers thing was like, Kawhi very much is like, the Clippers thing's been a disaster, right? And obviously health is a major thing and blah, blah, blah. But he sort of like chose Paul George. Like, you're my guy. We're going to do this. I'm going to build a team, right? And obviously it hasn't gone well. And Paul George, like, in leaving, he kind of like, in podcasts and stuff, he was like, I gotta say, like, the Clippers are a second-rate team. Like, they're not the Lakers. I can't do it anymore. And then, so he's kind of left Kawhi, and, Kawhi's been asked, and he's so like, just, himself, and he's not going to buy into any of that shit. But just, if there was something like, I think with the, like, as a Raptor fan, you saw a motivated Kawhi where, like, yeah, he's not someone who's going to like talk shit, but like he'll eat your heart out in a way where you're like, this guy fucking cares. Like, he is really just like absolutely insanely competitive. So I don't know, something there. Like, again, cool, it's not going to happen, but if there was something, I'd like it.
There's going to be, I know Kawhi is very chill about the whole thing and very like, and I'm sure he doesn't care, but there's got to be part of him that's like, gonna be a little bit like when they play each other, that it's gonna be like, I'm gonna show you how good I am, and how you should have stayed here instead of jumping to this other team. Yeah, there's definitely gonna be a thing. It might not get to like heated like talking shit or whatever, but it's gonna be there,
right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, guys, I think we rocked it. I think we did it. We got serious. We got serious. For a moment.
We got serious.
But we had a laugh. We had some jokes too. Anthony, what's up? What do you want to say to the world? Tell them where they can check out your wrestling pod, your
I
food,
will.
your good stuff, everything.
Okay, I will. It's been a pleasure being on the show. You can follow me at Hall and Jokes on Instagram and Twitter. I have a sketch comedy troupe called $20 Sandwich. We make online videos for Instagram and TikTok, and you can follow us at $20 Sandwich on Instagram. And also, I'm a member of the National Touring Company at the Second City here in Toronto. So if you're ever in the area by the Scotiabank Arena and you want to come see a fun show, we're running a best of show on Fridays and Saturdays until mid-November called the Best of the Second City Comedy Party. That's on Fridays and Saturdays. You can check me out there. And also, we're gearing up to write a holiday show called Make It Reindeer that will be running from mid-November to, I think, early Jan or February. So you can see me there at the legendary Second City.
Amazing.
Yeah, check it out.
You finish with a bit of a macho man flair. Huge. Andy, what's up? Tell them about the trivia.
Dude, I got to tell you about the trivia. Listen, it's so crazy this time around, all right? There's actually 2 trivias in the month of October.
Huge.
Wednesday the 23rd, and then also on the 30th. So 23rd is, yes, it is Weird Al's birthday. So there's going to be some Weird Al themed questions for sure. More than a few, I'd imagine. And then a real spooky horror movie trivia coming at you on the 30th. Down to the Smith House. It's getting raucous down there. People are showing up. You know what I mean? We got groups now coming, and they're looking to win. So maybe we'll up the prize ante for the next few because it's been pretty sweet. But yeah, come on down, and then shows around. Check out Crush City Comedy over at Comedy Bar Danforth. I tend to do that show a lot, as well as Catch 23 at Comedy Bar, the regular old Comedy Bar East, as we call it now. But yeah, I'm around.
Beautiful. My next book show right now, still not doing as many shows as I like because baby town, but I am running a stand-up show with Dan Gallia, Chris Sadiki, at Teddy Beer, which is a really nice room. And we just got a regular spot there. So we're going to do the second Thursday of every month. Next one is going to be November 14th. And it's great. The show's always good. And definitely follow me and Catherine Niker, who's a podcaster here on Raptors Republic. Follow our WNBA podcast, the Pickup WNBA podcast. It's been awesome. We just did our 100th episode and the WNBA finals. If you're not watching them, you should be. They're fantastic. 1-1 Liberty Lynx, and it's best out of 5. It's great shit. And
you're a Lynx guy, right?
I'm Lynx.
Just checking. You're a Lynx guy, right?
Lynx is my team.
Oh,
yeah. So you're stoked.
Until Toronto comes.
Right.
I've been open about that. I've been honest about that. I picked a team, and then when the team that's in my city comes, I will say goodbye to Lynx forever.
Yeah. Forever. Yeah. Makes
Because
sense.
But yeah, subscribe to Raptors Republic. Follow all the writers and podcasters there, and we'll see you next week.